So, Michael, I'm going to fail the so what test here, but I think it's fair to say that hiring, employment, and labor law is really heavily regulated, and rightly so. And if you think about some of the core principles when it comes to employment legislation or hiring legislation or labor law, it's really around fairness, right? The fairness piece is one of the first principles within that. So when I think about you and I think about your platform, Michael, uh, what is fair hiring and how can you help organizations hire fair, if that's an appropriate phrase?
On legislation, I'm just going to reel it off here in case people want to like search or Google it as well. So in the UK, Equality Act 2010, huge, cannot discriminate against protected characteristics within there as well. And whenever I've trained interviewers folks in the past, sometimes they would ask illegal questions around those. So that's like step one, cut that out, make sure folks are actually sticking to some sort of structured question and sets. And the examples I give during our training, like back home, there was one of the biggest fast food kind of chains as well. They asked, "How old are you?" to the person coming in applying the job. And she said, "What's that got to do with anything?" They said, "Well, aren't you a bit old to be applying for this entry level role?" Sued, employment tribunal, bang. So there's a tangible cost to not having a good interview process there as well, and folks just not being trained effectively as well. And yeah, that's what you kind of need to teach hiring managers and interviewers is you can get it wrong and then it can be extremely costly as well. And back to what you said about like gut feel at the top, if people are just relying on gut feel, do I like this person? Yes, or maybe. It's going to make their own day job harder if they just hire the wrong person who's like a yes woman or a yes man. Then it's just like, okay, you've made a rod for your own back, and that you've now just got more and more work to do if someone's not picking it up. So it can be absolutely wild on that side. So for us, and like we work with some of the biggest employers in Ireland and the UK, heavily unionized environments as well. You just need to walk them through what the fairness process looks like, which is like, hey, let's tell the candidates what we're going to interview or assess them on. If it's not the exact questions, at least send them out the topics, behaviors, competencies that they're going to ask a few questions around so they can prepare effectively. Have that structured one to kick off with, follow up probes so you can dig deeper, capturing the data. This was the core around what I was trained in being a professional interviewer. It's called ORS. It always looks like orc, and I want to say it like that, kind of out loud, but it doesn't make sense. But it stands for observe, record, classify, evaluate. And it's just a really simple interview methodology where during an interview, you just focus on observing and recording. Now there's tech to do that like us, which makes that piece a little bit easier. And then afterwards, you look at it line by line, statement by statement, start to classify it and be like, hey, interviewing Connor for a customer success role. And we asked a question around customer success. I'm going to mark each sentence based on like out of five. Hey, what does it look like? And where does it average out at? And then you make it an end evaluation. This is the piece that a lot of AI is missing out on the minute, which frightens me. We have all of these tools that are helping us shorten stuff down, summarize as well. Sometimes they focus on the positive. Have you ever pinged an idea in like ChatGPT that's come back being like, oh, great question, Connor. Do you want to go further down in more detail? If we're using that for interviews, it's gonna cut out all the negatives. Like it's literally gonna just focus positive, positive, positive. And then again, you might hire the wrong person if you're over reliant on AI. So for us, we say to folks, look at the full transcript, positive and negative, make a balanced evaluation from there as well. And then the last piece of that is just feeding back to folks as well. So it's not rocket science at all, but it's an fairness and objectivity approach. If folks are well trained, apply a framework in a structured way, and know how to score effectively, it's just a no-brainer. That's what our product does. Is just makes that simple for everyone involved.
I love it, Michael. And is there any specific metrics that you focus on when it comes to fair hiring?
So a lot of the DEI information is tracked within ATSs as well, which is great. But capturing that data is step one. So companies like Northern Ireland, once a company gets a certain size, they always legally have to capture that data. Sometimes it'll be on things like religion, for us, where we're from. Other folks and contracts we've worked on, sometimes they've been more focused on gender, ethnicity, or even veterans. And some of the work that we've done in the UK, sort of prison service, Ministry of Justice, those are three key things that they're just like, hey, what steps can we take? What tools, technology can we use to really increase the representation where we think that we're lacking within there as well? So you should capture and track everything. That's important across the board, and not just narrowing the focus on too many as well. If you're capturing everything, you'll know what issues that you have. But really simple things as well, like within early careers and student hiring, I think it was Sybil's that do a lot of the reports. They looked at some terms and terminology that just skewed data. It used to be BAME, where they'd throw it all into one. And then whenever they actually started to split it out, they spotted, hey, it was actually black male candidates within this range is a lot lower, rather than having an overarching figure that sat there a bit higher as well. So whenever you come to DEI and data, break it down as much as you can, if people feel comfortable. Always going to be, they can prefer not to say it, or folks don't have to track it, and you can't chase them too much off the back of that, because everyone's own right to just like opt out of that.